I think Cardano has made some of the better design decisions at the protocol level. We don't need 45 EVM chains. The GitHub activity for projects in Cardano is just continuous shipping. But what Cardano has done organizationally has been build for the future and fill the gaps that we clearly had during that 2021, 2022 phase that we didn't fully capitalize on. And they're in a good position right now, despite what people might believe, to make a resurgence if the conditions are correct.
I like Cardano. You like Cardano. But like Cardano compared to everything else going on in crypto, Hashoshi, is Cardano still a leading project in the crypto space?
Ooh, a fiery question right off the bat. I think Cardano is a leading project in the crypto space in all the ways that people may not care about as much. It's not going to be the sexiest project. They're not going to have as many VC relationships. The technology is going to be dense and almost academic and maybe sometimes come off as arrogant in a way. But I think as a technical person myself, I have a lot of respect, and the reason why I've stuck with Cardano and said, hey, I don't think Cardano is terrible. Here's the reason why. That's because they've taken a much different approach to the same design problems that we've had in this space for a long time. And there are very few projects that are doing that, to be quite honest with you. There are a lot of copycats and a lot of projects doing the same thing over and over again with a slightly different label, title, or brand. And Cardano's done things almost completely differently from the start. They've made good decisions and bad, but that to me, as a protocol design buff, I think that that's a cool thing that they've done. And they're in a good position right now, despite what people might believe, to make a resurgence if the conditions are correct.
So where is Cardano today? Because I know in 2017, 2018, it was just a wallet, just a dataless wallet. Cut to 2021, midway through, they finally got smart contract capable. Where is Cardano today? What have they accomplished?
Yeah, what Cardano and let's be real, right? If we're honest for a minute, I think that Cardano fell short in the sense that during the peak of the bull market, we're talking that 2021 into 2022 type of period, smart contracts were new. It took a little too long to get there. They made the choice: do we launch this where we're not 100% sure everything's stable, or do we wait and launch it at the right, when we're really confident? They made the decision to launch it stable, and I respect that, but it was a little late in the game. And because it's such a different protocol itself, the smart contract language is completely different than Solidity, what you see in almost every other blockchain. It was a slow uptake, and the developers in that community took time to figure it out. So as a result of that, you didn't see a huge bump in DeFi traffic. You didn't see stable coins, and what you get with stable coins is liquidity. So liquidity then drives all the other cool things that happen on a blockchain. And so that was a missed opportunity. And so since then, and of course, prices have come down for almost every altcoin, including Cardano, 90+%. And I think a lot of people are upset. I get why. It sucks. But what Cardano has done, I think at a protocol level, organizationally, has been build for the future and fill the gaps that we clearly had during that 2021, 2022 phase that we didn't fully capitalize on. And I've been really slow on content because I had a kid and I'm moving, had a lot of other life things going on. But I've been tracking a lot of the GitHub activity for projects, and Cardano, of course, is one of them. It's just continuous shipping. For people who are interested in the technical piece, they do a weekly dev update, like pretty technical stuff, but they give it a weekly dev update. They're just continuously chopping away at functionality. So where they are today is they've polished up the smart contract functionality a lot. And on the side of developer advocacy and developer tooling, making it easier for developers to do stuff, teaching developers how to use the tools, where we were with Solidity in 2015, they've done a ton of work there. They've created better tools for people who are non-developers. That's called Marlowe. You can use a graphical user interface, kind of drag and drop logical programming to create smart contracts on Cardano, no programming experience required. And then they've made a lot of protocol level updates. made the node client the actual functional part of the network that connects to other nodes and builds the whole thing. They've improved that fundamentally for performance, and they've launched the beginnings of what will be the scalability future of Cardano, which is Hydra. It's their layer 2 native to Cardano. People are like, oh, you don't really need an L2. Your main chain isn't full, but it's better to have it now than when you need it and you don't have it, right? So I'll pause there. I'll get off my soapbox.
No, dude, I appreciate it, dude. That's why I want you on. And congratulations on your kid. Again, I know you named him Cardano, which is a big deal.
Right. My wife would be pissed.
But yeah, so Cardano today has a, it's like where Ethereum almost was early on, but it's its own thing. It's got a, ecosystem which is developing and budding, NFTs, different DeFi apps, stable coins. Like, where is Cardano going? Is it going to take like a similar path we've seen Ethereum take? Like, what can ADA holders look forward to?
I think that Cardano would be there's a difference, right? I think that the foundation, like the people like IOG, IOHK, I think they're looking beyond just DeFi and NFTs, and all that stuff is good. And I think Cardano is still going to play there because you have to. But I think that the vision is broader than that. It's allowing people to execute functions of government, municipal level government, state, provincial, whatever your structure is, using a public chain, running democratic processes through this blockchain network, because they've set the stage for a lot of that with their early focus on identity and self-sovereignty features and the native assets component of it. So all the things you do with NFTs or fungible tokens, etc., are on the main chain. You don't have to rely so much on external storage like you do on other blockchains. So I think in that way, you're fundamentally you're looking at a chain that's maybe more focused on the business and sociopolitical issues that happen in the world than just DeFi. And I think that's cool. Now, some people in the Cardano community might not agree with me on that, but if I look at the decisions that were made and the way that someone like Charles Hoskinson talks, I think that's really what they're focused on. Can we be the fabric of finance and democracy in Africa or some other country in another part of the world that doesn't have this infrastructure yet? That's always been the mission and vision from my perspective. So to me, that would be pretty exciting if that were to happen.
Be honest with me on this next question, Hashoshi. And by the way, you guys can follow Hashoshi, link down below. I know you like Cardano. That's obvious. Yep. Do you like Cardano over alternative L1s? There's Solana, there's Algorand, there's all kinds. Like, how does Cardano compete?
I would say of the non-EVM chains, so non-Ethereum virtual machine compatible chains, which I am undoubtedly a fan of. Like I started my real career in this space on Ethereum. I think Cardano has made some of the better design decisions at the protocol level, and they've led the way on things like proof of stake protocol design that I don't think people give them enough credit for, with delegation and non-custodial staking and all that sort of stuff. Now, do I say the future is mutually exclusive, and if Ethereum is a mainstay for the next several decades, that Cardano can't be? No. I believe personally that we need multiple chains, but we need heterogeneous chains. We don't need 45 EVM chains where you have to have 45 wallets to use them. If I'm going to have to make sacrifices from a user experience perspective, I need to get something out of it. There needs to be a reason. And I think that you'll start to see the differentiation between use cases on something like Cardano and something like Ethereum or Polygon or Solana to an extent. And people give Solana, I would say Solana and Cardano are the two projects that are the most polarizing. You have tons of people who love them, and then a whole other contingent of people who hate these projects with a fiery burning passion. But I would say what I like about Solana and Cardano is that they are unapologetically willing to do things the way that they think they should be done. And if they get burned on it, mostly they own it. Some people will argue that too, but mostly they own it, and I can get behind that.
Okay, very interesting. So as we're looking out into the future, you say that's going to develop a little differently, all these different things we talked about. 5-year outlook prediction for Cardano.
5-year outlook. I think 5 years from now, we need to see that the functions that have been built deeply into the protocol within Cardano. So I'm talking about self-sovereign identity. So the ability for people to take a wallet and maybe have their credentials running through these publicly verifiable blockchain-based systems in a privacy preserving way where you own it, not somebody else. Okay, people get confused about digital identity. And protocol governance needs to be fully in the hands of the Cardano community. And I think that is the bread and butter of what makes Cardano a compelling chain for the future, is the emphasis that was placed and the design that was done on the last sort of era of development for Cardano, kind of where we are now, which is how do we do on-chain governance so that everything that gets built on chain, all the protocol parameters, treasury funds, the future of the protocol sits in the hands of the people, not of a foundation alone. And in 5 years, I want to see a thriving, democratically managed network that's global. To me, that would be right up there with some of the biggest successes of the space, and proving that you can do something different than the first mover in every single way and still succeed if you have the right use cases coming your way. So 5 years from now, that's what I'd be looking for. And ideally, you also might have some interoperability solutions for connectivity to other ecosystems, because you should.
Final question. Let's just say Cardano holders are right. Hashoshi, it wouldn't be an Altcoin Daily interview unless I asked you Cardano price prediction.
Cardano price prediction. So let's say what the Cardano landed in the $3+ range in the last phase, I believe.
I think
it's
it
over
was
three.
just under $3.
Just under three. Okay. So let's just say in that below, little over $3 range. In my opinion, that was driven mostly on speculation and not a lot on utility. And I'm a fan, and I will say that, right? So let's say the utility part is solved and you get people building, the halving happens, liquidity starts coming back into the space. You've got some other chains driving some excitement. There's some cool use cases on Cardano. Builders start building. You start to get that momentum going again. And there's utility on Cardano and liquidity coming to Cardano. I don't see why you can't move past that ceiling from the last phase. And people are going to say, oh, well, that's not going to happen. That's so rare for altcoins. Like, a ton of people didn't think Cardano was going to survive the 2018 drawdown and dissolution, because they're like, oh, they don't have a product. It's just a wallet and a node client, which was true, by the way, totally true. But then those people had to eat their shoe in the next phase in 2021, when things really weren't perfect for Cardano either then. And people are still diving in and supporting what Cardano is doing. So I'm going to bet on them doing the same thing. The community is still strong, maybe not as strong as it was, but it's still really strong. And I think then you see them outstrip that previous all-time high. And again, you might see a theme in the way that I talk about most altcoins. Very few of them do I think have the ability to get back to all-time high or beat it, but I think Cardano will beat it if, and only if, they have the developer enablement piece sorted out, because builders have to build stuff for users to come and use stuff. So that's my caveat. That has to happen. If it doesn't, problems.
No, dude, appreciate that. And actually, you do keep things very solid. So that sounds bullish to me, dude. I'm excited. Hashoshi, thank you so much for coming on, guys. Go follow Hashoshi, link down below. Final thoughts for the Altcoin Daily audience.
Final thoughts would be it has been a rather rough ride of late for crypto, no matter where you live. If you live in the States, like we do, I think it's been even rougher of a ride because you have a feeling of helplessness with what's going on from a regulatory perspective. But I think that these are uh, natural bumps in the road for new technologies, new paradigms, new ways of doing things. There's always this um, sort of antibody like response to drastically new things that don't really make sense with the current state of affairs. I think that's the phase that we're in. The same thing happened with a lot of the fundamental components of the internet, maybe not to this extent, but it's very, very similar. History echoes. And I think now we're getting to the point where this battle is going to force maturity, which is what's been missing. And hopefully it forces out a lot of the bad actors that there are in the space that are not looking to build anything of value. They're looking to take money from you. And if that happens and we really start rewarding the true builders in the space, then the sky's the limit. And it sounds cliche, but it is the factual truth that there's a reason why we're in the space, not just to make money, right? But to build technologies that make a difference.
Thanks so much, Hashoshi.
Right on. Thanks.